Here I come!
Back in the days of Quake, a man by the name of David Kirsch developed and released a mod for Quake known as 3-Wave CTF, a mod which skyrocketed in popularity. After working on Quake 2 and 3, he bounced around to different studios before landing at Valve working on Dota 2. During this time, Valve began development on a new game mode for Team Fortress 2 known as Mannpower mode, a modified CTF game mode that was heavily inspired by 3-Wave CTF, taking the mod's grappling gun concept and making it a major part of the game mode. For the next few years, this game mode would sit in the Mannpower beta testing program. Oh god. For the next few years, this game mode would sit in the Mannpower beta testing program, an experimental playtesting initiative where players would determine the progress of several in-development game modes like Mannpower mode, Robot Destruction, and Pastime. In 2014 and early 2015, 3 modified CTF maps would be introduced to this testing program, being CTF Foundry, CTF Thunder Mountain, and CTF Gorge. After playtesting and balancing, Mannpower mode was ready for official gameplay with a map purpose-built from scratch, and was released with glorious fanfare, tacked onto the bottom of a Scream Fortress update page. After the official release, the community was cautiously optimistic. Except for the fans of every other game mode, they were frothing at the mouth in anger, but this isn't about them. For the most part, people were mainly confused. Everyone in large part had forgotten about Mannpower mode due to a lack of communication as a whole from the testing program. Over the years, that cautious optimism turned to pessimism as the game mode experienced its first growing pains, with many people citing issues with balancing, tech issues, complicated mechanics, and poor map design. Many people stopped playing due to the poor quality of the game mode or denounced it entirely, though a small but dedicated community formed due to the game mode's 2 main aspects, good deathmatch mechanics and the extremely high skill ceiling. Attempts were made to fix several issues and bugs by the developers though, with certain balance changes and new mechanics introduced. Ultimately, this did very little to quell the frenzy of dissatisfaction, and in some cases actively hindered the community as measures were taken to lower the skill ceiling and put players on a more even playing field, alienating that small dedicated competitive community. In 2020, these issues would be compiled by a few key competitive community members and sent to Dario Casali, the caretaker and developer for Mannpower mode around this time. This resulted in a major update for Mannpower mode that would be released with equal if not more fanfare than the first time around, tacked onto another random Scream Fortress update page. After this historic Mannpower mode update, boasting the largest number of balance changes made since the first initial release, the reception was pretty quiet. For many players, the update came and went, and many criticized the update since it wasn't the promised heavy update which people still held out hopes for. While the community still held out hopes that big changes would be coming in the form of a major update down the road, Mannpower mode faded into obscurity with each passing seasonal update.
Any second now.
Too confusing for new players. That is an official comment from Valve that was used to describe why the map CP Snowplow, a fairly normal attack defend map, was not added during the community update end of the line. In their eyes, Valve viewed this map as too challenging to understand for new players, citing a difficulty in understanding the mechanics of the map and the game mode. This comment was not extended to such officially added maps like CP Steel, TC Hydro, and even game modes like Mannpower mode. There is no tutorial for Mannpower mode. There is no readily available documentation regarding the dozens of individual power-ups, or the grappling hook's controls or mechanics. The only documentation on the power-ups or instructions on how to use the hook was available online, in a blog post that was tacked onto the bottom of another blog post about the Smithmas 2014 update. You just can't make this stuff up. Newer players at the time of the game mode's beta testing had no idea how to play the game mode. It doesn't help that those who are just starting out in the spawn room are the literal weakest they could possibly be during the round. You can't stand a chance without being blown away by someone else's power-ups. This problem was only exacerbated when the game mode officially released a year later with, again, no readily available documentation on how the game mode works, so the audience of even newer players had little experience with the game mode and only got the brunt end of the unfair matchups that plagued the rounds of Mannpower. Many of the new players who tried out the mode only played for a few hours before returning to the other regular game modes, which were easier to understand. They also don't tell you that if you do too well in the rounds, you will actually be punished by being marked for death and having all of your power-up stats reduced. So that's fun. The other problem players had with the game mode lies in its maps. For the most part, Mannpower's maps are almost entirely reskins of other maps, besides one. CTF Foundry, Gorge, and Thunder Mountain were converted for use as testing maps. They were lightly modified to allow for easier grappling, but at its core, they were basically the same maps with the only added benefit being power-ups and grappling hooks. Excusing the fact that a majority of players didn't think very highly of these three maps in general, Thunder Mountain was a particularly egregious case as it was a payload map. And payload maps have a different design philosophy than a map like Foundry. You see, Thunder Mountain was built around the track. If you remove the track, then you're left with the first stage of a payload map that is duplicated for use as a CTF map, and a random platform plopped off of the side of the cliff that looks like it just came right out of Half-Life 1.
I love how tacked on this is, like a piece of rudimentary geometry.
This was a less than stellar lineup of maps, and would have certainly spelled the end of this game mode's life if it hadn't been for Hellfire. It's not a surprise that it's the only map you'll ever actually get a somewhat full match on when queuing for the mode, and the thing about Hellfire is that it's an actual serviceable map with plenty of routes, elevation, and cover. Having been purpose-built for the game mode by Valve, it combines everything that makes the game mode good into one map without compromising on its design. It looks the best, it's got the best grappling hook infrastructure, it certainly and simply is the best map in the game for Mannpower. Speaking of which, the grappling hook is the most notable and memorable addition to TF2 since the Con Tracker. Probably, don't quote me on that. Everyone's used it, whether it be on an achievement idle server, to a random deathmatch community server. It exists because of Mannpower mode. Having been such a big part of the mode from the get-go, many players took to its janky but fun mechanics. It may be hard to control, but it feels good to traverse maps with ease, especially when Mannpower's maps were specifically modified to remove obstacles that could intervene with the grappling hook. It's got an infinite amount of uses. I mean, you can get to really high places easily, become more mobile as a class that suffers from immobility, negating fall damage, giving people the people staple, Okay, yeah, I don't know what else, but hey, that's a good list though. If only that extended to the rest of the game mode. It's hard to make a good game mode. You have to make a mode that flows nicely, keeps the round timers down, is easy to understand, and overall fun. Now, you shouldn't be surprised when I say that. Unfortunately, Mannpower fails at most of these. Now, before you kill me, let me explain. Capture the Flag is a particular game mode that I like to call the time stopper, the training runs if you will. It's merely a place to go to get easy kills regardless if you are a skilled veteran or even if you're a beginner. Speaking from experience, I despise Capture the Flag. Same with Payload Race, but that's for a different reason. It's easy, it's long, and the worst part, it's boring. Okay, not all the time, there are choice situations where it's a blast. I mean, look at that.
What the hell is happening? Is this the whole game gonna be like this? Nice trim. Can I trim with this? Oh, this is so weird! Dude, I was truly floored. Oh my god.
That's fucking sick. I mean, that's sick. Look at that. The point being, Capture the Flag is not a stable foundation for a game mode. I don't think it ever will be. I don't think I've seen or even heard of anyone who thinks that the flag captures are the best part of Mannpower. So it baffles me that there is like 10 of them required to finish a round. It's insanity. And you heard me right. You know that feeling When you're 4 hours into a game of 2-4 and the enemy has a rock solid defense, every person on the team is like 100 points per player, and you have to be at a dentist appointment in 15 minutes, and you can't miss this one because you've already missed the last one. And if you don't get to this one, you'll be going without dental care for like 3 years, and that back left molar in your mouth is really starting to give you a hard time. You need to finish the contract though, so what are you gonna do? Okay, wait, where was I? Oh yeah, 10 rounds. That's nonsense. It's not like grappling hooks and power-ups can make it easier to capture the flag. If anything, it makes it harder because those tools aren't going to help you get to your objective easier because players don't treat them like that. They just choose them as tools to kill people with. And it doesn't help that picking up the intelligence literally slows you down and makes you easier to hit. Also, there's a returning favorite of this series, something they hold deep and near and dear to my heart, a staple of Forgotten Gamemodes. No round timer. I wouldn't mention it if it wasn't so sad. These two are like the Grim Reapers for potential up-and-coming game modes. Those two aspects won't make people hate a game mode, but it is setting it up for failure, destined to be forgotten and unplayed. It's like a death by 1,000 tiny cuts. Now look, I don't want to be all doom and gloom. There is a lot that is good about Mannpower mode. The power-ups actually feel like power-ups, and once you get a good grasp on the mechanics of the grappling hook and a general idea of what matchup you should pursue, you can have a lot of fun. Like take this clip here. I got a melee power-up and proceed to get like 10 or 11 consecutive kills in the span of a minute and a half. Man, smell that air. The only thing is though, that's only a handful of times, on a specific map. Most of the other matches I ended up playing were sparsely filled with only a few people on each team, and when that happens you can really feel the emptiness of the game mode. So even though one specific map is good, does that mean that the entire game mode is good? If you stick to the Hellfire map, you should be in a pretty good spot in finding a full match. Stay away from the other maps though, they're really poor and not fun to play on. And the thing that personally irks me about this game mode is that the fact it just doesn't go far enough. You can get a better match with the same mechanics by playing on community servers. Most of them have the grappling hook and power-ups in some form by either having spells, the actual power-ups, or rolling the dice commands. It just fills that niche of a fun matchup without having all those time-consuming rounds of Mannpower. So in short, to conclude, just play community servers, they're just better. Okay, so that was me done rambling for a bit. Thank you so much for watching. I am Sea Crab. Like, comment, subscribe, all that. Watch my other videos. I have like a playlist full of them. I got like 5 or 6. Go watch them all. Next time we're doing, I don't fucking know. Let's do robot destruction. That should be a quick and easy one. Definitely won't take me a year to make them. Holy crap. Oh my god. Bye.